News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk KGVO, AM 1290 and now 101.5 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
Downtown Missoula was not to place the bee last Thursday afternoon. Good morning, everyone. It's Wednesday, February the 4th, 2015. Right now we have a cloudy sky, 30 degrees, some light fog in the area. And it's time for Montana Morning. And our newscast this morning is sponsored by, got a brand new news sponsor this morning. It's Boot Barn, celebrating everyday heroes who work hard for their families with big savings on work apparel and boots. You could save $20 on select Justin original work boots for a limited time. A Missoula woman, Carol Ann Burafato, is in St. Patrick Hospital with serious injuries after allegedly driving drunk, crashing into two other vehicles, and then eluding police through the downtown area last Thursday. Investigating Highway Patrol Trooper Andrew Novak told me yesterday the incident began when Burafato rear-ended a pickup truck.
She struck the rear end of a pickup that was stopped at a stoplight, and she then cursed at the person she struck, threw her car in reverse and struck the car behind her, then struck the pickup she had already struck again hard enough to push it forward and allow her to get around it.
Novak said Missoula police began to pursue Burafato throughout the streets of downtown Missoula.
He attempted to stop it. It fled from him. I'm not certain how many other officers from the police department were involved. My understanding is that the Malibu reached speeds that were unsafe for officers to continuing the pursuit.
Novak then detailed how the chase ended.
The incident was concluded by a head-on crash when the suspect turned the wrong direction on Main Street, traveled the wrong direction, and struck a vehicle head-on that was traveling the proper direction.
Burafato has been charged with 3 felony counts of criminal endangerment, her 4th DUI, which is also a felony, as well as misdemeanor charges of eluding a peace officer and reckless driving. She's scheduled for an appearance in Missoula Justice Court February 20th upon her release from the hospital. Noted Native American author and activist Elaine Willman has published a letter that is severely critical of both the state of Montana and the CSKT Water Compact currently before the legislature. She states in the letter that the true problem with the compact does not lie with the Confederated Tribes.
The real adversary, unfortunately, is Montana state government. The tribal government is doing nothing more than the state government is sanctioning in that compact. So that's where the real problem is that your Montana state legislature and your governor's office and attorney general's office.
Willman says the compact is entirely weighted in favor of tribal government.
In a real negotiation, two parties sit down and there is give and take and there is bargaining and there is something in it for both or all parties. That's not the case with this compact. Everything that's in it is for the small Salish Kootenai tribal government.
Willman concludes the letter by stating that citizens of the state are the true losers in the compact.
The compact is very protective and surrenders all of the waters and all of the jurisdiction and property rights and municipal water rights to a small tribe. That is just unheard of anywhere else in the country.
Willman said she wrote the letter so that everyday Montana citizens would contact their legislators and tell them not to support the compact. You can read that letter in its entirety on our website at newstalkkgvo.com. A man shot and killed by federal and local law enforcement officers outside a Montana hospital had escalating legal problems during the months before his death, including breaking into his former wife's home. Family members have disputed the depiction of John Marshall, who's 48, as a criminal, and his sister Valerie O'Connell said yesterday she believes he was unarmed when he was killed. She was not at the scene of the shooting. Cleanup work on a 30,000-gallon oil pipeline spill into the Yellowstone River near Glendive has been effectively put on hold for a month until more ice on the river has a chance to melt. State and pipeline company officials said yesterday that about 25 personnel remain on site to watch for oil-damaged wildlife and respond to any crude seen on the river. That's down from a peak of about 125 personnel during the initial response. The spill has renewed calls for increased government oversight of the nation's aging pipeline network. They say the third time's the charm, but that doesn't hold true for bills at the Montana legislature. Yesterday, a bill allowing electronic voter registration was tabled in committee. Similar bills failed in 2013 and 2011, all of which were touted by Montana Secretary of State Linda McCullough.
It's a lot more secure, it's a lot more efficient and accurate, and I had great bipartisan support, and it died in the committee on a 10-10 vote. It was 8 Democrats voting for it and 2 Republicans voting for it.
McCullough says every year people think they've finished their paper registration only to find that they aren't ready yet to vote.
Within the 30 days before election, I get lots of calls from groups, for both Democrat and Republican, that have collected voter registration cards and then forgot to turn them in. So I have to tell them that they cannot be turned in and that they should call everyone who thought they registered and tell them that they're not.
Although McCullough said the bill had bipartisan support, the final committee vote was split mostly along party lines. Missoula County Public Schools recently paid a polling firm to gauge the public's willingness to vote for upcoming bond issues. The Harstead Strategic Research Poll surveyed 500 likely Montana voters. School District Communications Director Hatton Littman told our John King that yesterday that the results support both the $110 million K-8 bond as well as a $75 million high school bond.
The district was very happy and enthused to see that the public's response was that they would, in large part, support a bond for both the elementary and the high school districts to improve our public schools. In fact, over 65% of Missoulians, likely voters that were polled, indicated that they would support a bond both in the elementary and the high school.
Polls also asked Missoulians to grade Missoula area schools.
Several questions asked, do people think we're on the right track or the wrong track, as well as what grade would you give the schools that your child attends. And in large part, people would give our schools a B, and in certain significant cases, an A for our schools. So we certainly think that's great and a validation of all the efforts of our teaching staff and our administrators and really our students who are achieving every day.
Harstead representatives were in Missoula yesterday to discuss the polling results with school trustees. And here's a great story. In 1942, they were lumberjacks, miners, hunters, and farmers from the U.S. and Canada. They came together at Fort Harrison in Helena. Within a few months, they were well-trained warriors, went on to become the Devil's Brigade. Well, yesterday, Congress awarded surviving members of the Devil's Brigade the Congressional Gold Medal, its highest civilian award. Canadian Veterans Affairs Minister Aaron O'Toole spoke at the ceremony about how the two of the countries worked together.
In many ways, the Devil's Brigade also symbolizes the unique ability of two of the world's great nations to work together to secure freedom far from our shores. The Devil's Brigade, as the folklore shows, brought together bagpipes and bugles, lieutenants and lieutenants. It brought together young men from Toronto and young men from Topeka.
Our News Talk time now is 6:10.
Newstalk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Mostly cloudy skies today with a chance of showers this afternoon. High temperatures will top out in the upper 30s. Rain likely tonight, mostly cloudy with our lows right around freezing. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster for KECI 13.